Hey, and welcome back to the channel. Today's going to be an awesome video. We're going to do a massive silver investing Q&A session. So I took all of the questions. Honestly, I'm absolutely blown away. In last week's video, which was all on silver investing as well, I talked about and asked you to send me your questions on silver investing. And this is what I've got. I've got 20 pages here of questions. I'm just amazed by this. So what I've done, really when I look through the questions, I realized that what you've done is you've categorized it really into 15 main questions. So we're going to go through all the questions. I'm going to put them below in the description as well. I'll timestamp them so that you can dip in and out if you, if you want to, or you can just watch through all the questions. But this is going to pretty much answer any question you've got on silver investing as of today in 2020 right through to 2022. I'm going to cover the next 2 years. We're going to cover a lot. So, best type of silver to buy, where to buy silver, should you pay over spot or premium in hot markets right now, silver mining stocks, vault storage. Are ETFs okay? These are exchange traded funds, what I think of them. Gold to silver ratio. Where is the silver price heading in the next 2 years? Is silver undervalued right now? What do I think of junk silver? How much gold, silver should you own in a good portfolio? How much do you have to buy in bulk to get good pricing? Can you buy silver overseas, bring it back to your home country? A lot of people ask that to avoid tax, so I'm going to cover that as well. Do I believe that silver could become more valuable than gold someday? So you can see here I brought some of the silver from my personal collection. So you'll notice I'm not in the studio today. This is my home study at my house in England. So I know you've seen some of my other locations. This is my study in England at this house. It's a good location for travel, but the vault is not too far away. So I went and collected this. We've got about 350 ounces on the table. That has a retail value today with the premiums anywhere from say $10,000 to say $15,000 US approximately. So I'm going to actually go through some of these metals and I'm going to show you some of the coins. So with that said, let's get straight into it. And if you are a subscriber, thank you so much. I know 5,000 of you joined me in the last week. It's so great that we've now got 50,000 subscribers on the channel, considering just 2 months ago, we had no subscribers. It was pretty much brand new. I think we had about 500 or 1,000 subscribers. And to now be at 50,000 within 6 to 8 weeks is amazing. So thank you so much. If you're not a subscriber, I mainly talk about finance and investing. Consider subscribing to the channel and you'll get all this content, which a lot of people charge a fortune for financial advisors. I give it all to you for free. This isn't financial advice, just to get that out of the way. I don't take any liability for any losses or anything like that as a result of bad decisions. So with that said, let's get into the first question. So question number one comes from loads of people. Rob Nappy, what kind of silver is best to buy? American Eagle, silver round, silver bar. So a lot of people ask the same question. I think there's about 50, 60 people ask the same question. In your opinion, what's the best product to purchase? 1 ounce, 10 ounce, 100 ounce for home storage. Cy Johnston, Neil, what kind of physical silver to buy? Big bars and coins. I could just go on all day with this. So let me just jump straight into this question then, which is what's the best type of silver to buy? So I'll just give you my opinion on what I buy. So the thing you got to take into account is when you buy, say, a 1 ounce coin, like this here, for example. So this is a United States Silver Eagle. So that is 1 troy ounce. It looks like this on the other side there. And a coin like this, you are going to pay above spot, which is basically spot price is the actual price. So you'll hear this mentioned throughout, and also premium. So the spot price is the price of silver, and then the premium is what you pay for the refined metal. So the smaller the quantity, the higher the premium is what you're going to pay. So for example, if you buy, say, a 1 ounce coin, you're going to pay a very high premium versus, say, a 100 ounce bar, or let's say you bought a kilo bar, or even they go a lot bigger than that. They go a lot heavier. You can get some serious kilos in a bar. That's normally for industrial use, but the bigger the quantity you buy, the lower the premium and the better the discount that you're going to get on it. The other thing you can do is you don't need to buy minted coins like this. So again, we've got the Eagle here. That's the US minted coin. That's the Eagle. You also have the Canadian Maple, which is a very, very popular coin. Okay, that's your Canadian Maple. And the reason that these coins are good is because they are well known everywhere. And that's the other one is a Britannia. And you see they come in different packages as well. The ones I just showed you came in a plastic capsule. This came in a plastic sleeve. So I've just ordered some capsules actually, so I can transfer these into it, because I completely forgot they were in the vault, completely forgot they were still in sleeves. So I've just got some capsules on the way. These are all capsules, and sometimes they will arrive like this as well. So these are capsules here, and you can see how they arrived. They came bubble wrapped, so there's probably 10 1 ounce, 1 troy ounce capsules in there as well. You also get them that come like this package. So this is 20 1 ounce Eagles. If I take the lid off here, the top, you can see inside, that's what they look like inside. So you see, they're just all loose in there. Now, I don't necessarily like it to be in these containers because you do get spotting. It's called spotting, or people call it milk spots. You can see there's the color's a little bit off in there. It looks like rust, but it's not rust. But that does affect the value of a 1 ounce coin as well. And then we've got maples. These are Canadian maples. These are Britannias here in this case. So we've got 20 Britannias here, and that's what it looks like on top. So they come in different packages. I like the capsules, to be honest. I like them like this. This is my favorite way to get them. And then we have other types of coin. So we have what are known in the industry as rounds. So you have your 1 ounce minted coins, and then you have rounds, which are not from an official sort of mint, like say the American mint, the Canadian mint, the British mint. You have other coins, and they're called rounds. Now, personally, I don't have anything against rounds, but I don't buy them. I don't invest into rounds because I just think they're a little harder to sell on later on. Whereas these coins here, everyone knows them. Everyone knows what they are. They are very common, and they're quite easy to resell. So you also get other coins. So this is a very old coin here. So this is a 1974 1 ounce coin. And that's what it looks like. Has this eagle on the front, and then this is what it's got on the back, and it says 1 troy ounce 999 fine silver struck in the United States of America by the Letcher Mint, certified weight and quality, A. Letcher, 1974. So a lot of people like to collect coins like this, but again, they do tarnish really badly. This one's tarnished on the top here. But a lot of people like to collect these sort of coins. Also, you get things like this. So this was a well-known issue with the Canadian Maple. So this was 2009, it was struck. They did something with the chemicals at the mint, which made the back of it go a very strange color. So a little bit afterwards, you'll notice the color went off on this, but on the other side, it was fine. But the one thing that I've never heard anyone mention before, but one thing that I always am concerned with the minted coins over the rounds, not the premium, yes, you do pay more, but that doesn't really matter to me because I'd rather be able to sell them easily later on, is the fact that they are legal tender in your country. So let's say that you're in the US, it will have a value on that coin, and I can tell you what that is for this one. So this is your standard 1 ounce here, and this says $1. So it actually has a monetary value on it of $1. Now, if I look at the Britannia says £2. So this one is saying it has a face value of £2. And the Canadian Maple here, Canadian Maple Leaf, says $5 on it. So these actually have monetary value. So one thing that concerns me with any minted coins like that is if we ever do have a financial reset, and again, this isn't some sort of conspiracy theory, we've had financial resets over the years. They tend to occur every, I don't know, 70 years, let's just say. We have these financial resets, we go to a new monetary system. That's why we came off the gold standard. We went, you know, Bretton Woods and all this. So I won't get into it today. So what might happen in the future, especially if there's any issues with gold, which there could be in the future, my concern is that because silver is a legal tender in your currency, in your country, then that silver could be confiscated in the future. So that is a risk with minted coins. Not, again, I don't know how legitimate that is, but it's just something that I've thought about. I've never heard anyone mention it, but that's something to be aware of. Question number 2 then is really where to buy metals. So a lot of people have asked me the same question: how and where to buy metals, where are reputable places to buy silver and gold, where does one safely buy physical silver? Okay, so this is the other question that we've got. So the first thing I want to say on this question is I personally wouldn't recommend you buy any silver from eBay. And people are always saying to me, oh, I buy mine from eBay, Neil, this way I get my silver. Personally, I wouldn't. I don't think that's a good place to buy silver because there's so many fakes on eBay. You know, years and years back, you know, maybe 7 or 8 years, I bought some coins off eBay. I was very fortunate that I didn't get any fakes, but some of my friends and colleagues, they got fakes. And I'm going to show you how to test your silver towards the end of the video so you can know if your silver is real or not, or if it's fake. Really, really easy test. It takes literally 2 seconds. I'll show you how to do that. So you really need to find a reputable mint in your home country where you can buy your metals from. And it's really easy to find them. I'm not going to make any recommendations, but the funny thing was I called some of my friends who own mints or they're bullion dealers, and I said, I'm making this video today. Can I refer people to you? Can I recommend you? And they all said the same thing. No, Neil, please don't. We have a 4 to 6 week delay. The fastest one was 2 to 4 weeks on any metals. They're not going to be getting any metals in for the next 4 to 6 weeks, most of them. Some of them said it could be 3 months because their silver mines, you know, the supplier where they get theirs from has actually closed down for the next 2 months. So, you know, this is what's going on at the moment. It's very difficult to get hold of silver. We'll come on to that in a little bit, but you really just need to look for a reputable dealer in your country, and they are very simple to find. They're not difficult to find. You know, don't just go with some local dealer who's just opened in the last couple of years. Make sure they've got a long track record, at least 5 years, but really you want to check they've got 10, 20 years track record, and they are the people that I would buy your metals from. So following on then, this is the same question. People are asking about storage and where you actually store it. Hey, if you're a subscriber, I just want to thank you so much. And also, please would you do me a favor as usual and just click the like button below. That really helps me out for this video to rank on YouTube, so thank you. If you're in the US or somewhere like that where you can actually store silver or metals quite easily, and you've got a gun or you've got something like that, then you're fine. There's no issues at all. Just like my wife and I, and my wife's American, by the way, I'm British, so we have no issues at all with storing silver in the US. I won't say any more on that. So I personally don't keep a lot of metals. So I would never keep this amount of metals that I've got here at my home in the UK, just because it's too risky if a gang or someone broke in and they were armed. So just make sure that you store it either in a vault, under an armed vault, or if you're in the USA, then you can keep it in a like a gun safe or something like that, a really heavy safe where 1 or 2 men couldn't just come in and carry that out. Okay, so the next question, loads of people have asked the same one. It's around the spot price and paying a premium on silver. So firstly, let me just get this out the way. You will always pay a premium on silver. You're never going to get it close to the spot price when you purchase silver as a refined coin like these here, because there's always going to be a premium on smaller quantities. And again, the smaller the quantity, like a 1 ounce coin, the higher the premium you're going to pay. So the question from Andres here, what's your opinion on paying today about $5 to $9 over spot? So that's 26 to 36%. My opinion is that is very high. But let me just explain what's going on. Rather than talking into it, let me just explain why that is. So you'll notice in most of my videos, one of the things I talk about, and this is the foundation of a lot of my teaching, is the supply and demand ratio. So right now, you've got this huge demand on refined silver from the mints. They haven't got the supply. They're waiting for the metal to come in. And some of them are saying, again, 4 to 6 weeks for the metal to come in. But the fact is, some of the silver mines have actually closed down. And again, we'll get into mines in a little bit, because the majority of silver doesn't actually come from silver mines, it comes from other mines, but we'll cover that in a little while. But would I be spending way over premium right now? And the answer is, me personally, I probably wouldn't. So would I be spending, say, $50 on a Eagle on eBay? Personally, no, I wouldn't. I would be waiting until the supply gets a little bit better, when I know I can actually get some Eagles, for example. And again, you can get whatever coin you want. I recommend Eagles, Maples, and Britannias, because they're solid. People are going to probably put in the comments, what about kangaroos and this coin and that coin? Again, I would personally invest in the coin you feel most comfortable with, or the bars, whatever you're going to go for quantity wise. So I'm sure the Australian kangaroo is a good coin and all of that. It's just not a coin that I would buy. I stick to the 3 that I know really well, and I know that I can resell very easily. So I'd say maybe ask a different question. That's what I would look at. You know, everything we do in life is really as a result of the quality of the questions we ask. So I would ask a different question, and that is, rather than asking, should I buy it at a premium? Should I go way over spot, 30, 40% over spot? The question I'd ask is, how much can I buy this silver coin? Say you bought a 1 ounce coin. How much can I buy that for? And how much do I think I can sell that for in the future? And also, how long am I going to hold it for? This is the question that I would be asking. And that way you'll get a really high quality answer to your own question. Okay, question number 4. What do I think of silver mining stocks? So we've got Johnny here. What is your opinion on mining stocks? Do you advise going all in on physical metals? And then we've got another one here. As you believe in silver but not in stocks, what's your opinion about silver and gold mining stocks? So just to be clear, I've never said that I don't believe in stocks. All right, so I definitely do believe in stocks. What I said was, I would only invest into mutual funds. You know, again, look at Ray Dalio, Warren Buffett. These people, you've got to listen to them. They're the top investors in the world. And they say right now, go for a good mutual fund if you want to protect yourself. You know, just look at Warren Buffett's company, Berkshire Hathaway, lost billions recently, okay? So look, if the big boys can get hit, then anyone can get hit. So I'm not against the stock market, okay, just to be really clear on that, but I'm going to answer the question. And then another one, how do you feel about mining stocks right now? So all around the same question. So let me answer that and tell you my opinion on mining stocks. If you're getting a lot of value from this video so far, you know, there's a couple of things that you could do to help me out in return. Number 1 is to click the like button for me. That would help my video to rank, so I really appreciate that. And number 2, why not do yourself a big favor and subscribe to the channel? Join the 50,000 other people that have subscribed just in the last couple of months. Join the community, and I'll continue to bring you fantastic content like this. So thank you. So I personally believe that mining stocks are massively undervalued, like hugely undervalued. It's ridiculous. But I would never buy the mining stock before I bought the metal, because the metal comes first, the stock comes second, and it always has done in that order. So I would buy the metal whilst it's really, really cheap. I would be buying the metal right now. And then if you wanted to diversify, sure, buy a mining stock. However, here's your risk with it, okay? When you've got that metal in your hand, right? So I've physically got this right now in my hand. I know the value of it. I know the spot price of it. It's mine. I own it. It's in my hand, right? But when it comes to that mining stock, there's a lot of other things you have to take into account, like human emotion. Okay, now this is an interesting one. And Warren Buffett talked about this beautifully on the annual shareholders meeting just a couple of weeks ago. And he was talking about a farmer and a farm, and how, you know, you can just buy a farm and you know exactly how many bushels of wheat you'll get per acre. All right, that's it. It's a commodity. You know, it's a farm. But he said the issue is about the farmer or whoever runs that farm on your behalf. Okay, now what he's talking about is, say, a CEO of a company, and he was saying one day that farmer might be in a bad mood or whatever. And again, what we're talking about is human emotion. So you can get companies that are well run, but you can get companies that are badly run. And we've got plenty of examples of companies that have just been absolute scandals. We've seen so many scandals in the last decade. And these have been caused by human beings. So no stock is immune to human interference or manipulation, shall we say. Whereas a physical metal in your hand, you own it, you haven't got to worry about it. But your other risk with a mining stock, even though I've said and I believe they're undervalued, is that some mines will go bankrupt. All right, it's just inevitable, it's part of business. Businesses go bankrupt all the time. So you've also got that risk. So you know, these are your risks that you're weighing against just buying a physical ounce of silver. Now, the other risk that you have with mining stocks is that a lot of mines, and again, we'll talk about silver mines and then I'll talk about some other mines, but the silver mines, the issue is that the spot price is so cheap right now of silver. So this is the actual value of silver, that is almost the same as actually mining it and refining it, so taking it out of the ground. So when you have something like this going on, it causes a massive issue, because why is an investor, why are these investors that own mines and the like, why would they open new mines? Why would they focus on mining it if the price of the silver is the same price as what it costs them to mine? There's no profit. So this is why some mines have simply closed down. All right, so another thing to bear in mind. But just to give you some figures around this, silver mines actually produce about 30% of the metal. Gold mines produce about 13%, copper mines 20%, and then you have lead and zinc, which is about 35%. And then you have, the other 2% is just other mines. And again, these vary year to year. You might, give or take 1% here or there, but that's about the percentages that these mines produce in terms of silver. So if you think, oh yeah, I'm going all in on, some silver mining stocks, well, a lot of that silver doesn't come from those silver mines. It's only 30% of it. So people will ask me as well, when's the best time to buy mining stocks? Well, in my opinion, the best time is gone. That was around September 2015. That was the perfect time to buy mining stocks. They were so cheap. It was, undervalue is an overstatement, right? They were so cheap, it was ridiculous. Now they're still undervalued, but I wouldn't be rushing out in the same way to get mining stocks as I would to be getting the physical. And if you, want some sort of a formula to figure out where mining stocks are going to go price-wise, again, it's a little bit difficult, but one thing that is tried and tested quite well is to look at the price of gold. So when you see the price of gold shooting up, the mining stocks usually follow the gold, and then the silver will follow the gold as well a lot later on. But again, past performance doesn't equal future performance, so it's just something to bear in mind. Okay, question number 5 then is around vault storage. I've touched on this a little bit, but here we go. Let's look at some of these. If you get the mine to hold your gold or silver, what do they charge you a year in fees? So I think Hamilton is talking about the vault, not the mine per se. I'll answer that. From Modit, how to not take ownership and still own the silver. And from Anna, hi Neil, question, if I was to buy a silver storage without the VAT, which is value added tax, no value at all in that tax, how do I know they actually have the silver in the vault and not just selling me a promise? That is a great question. So let me answer that now. So vault storage costs vary massively. So the ones that I'm with in both the UK and the USA, I don't pay any storage fees on my metals because I've bought it from them over the years in bulk, and they hold a good amount for me, and I have a special deal with them, special rates. So I don't actually pay any storage costs. I also refer people to them occasionally. So I have a good relationship with them. But let me just give you some stats on this. So the Royal Mint charge 1% per year plus VAT. So that's 20% on the 1%. So what does that mean? It basically means that you're paying 1.2% for storage. So if you had, say, £10,000 worth of gold in the British Mint, you would pay £30 per year for that storage. And then you have other places, goldsilver.com. So this is Mike Maloney's company. Highly recommend Mike Maloney if you don't know who he is. Goldsilver.com. There's, looking at the website today, is about $72 per year for storage of a similar amount. But in general, it can be anywhere from, say, 1% up to 7%. Personally, I think 7% is too high. About 2 or 3% I would be happy with. I probably wouldn't pay much more than that, because if you pay much more than that, you've got to make sure that you're in it for the long run, or you could lose money. basically on that 1 to 3% storage fee per year. So you've got to be making more than that to warrant it. So how do you know that the mint actually has your metal then? So let's say you're paying for vault storage. How do you know that the metal is actually there? Now, this is a really interesting one because there's been some quite high profile cases of late. And again, I don't like to keep using the name because at some point they're going to like come after me or something. But JP Morgan was another one where they were asked about some case where someone had some metals in storage. They requested it and JP Morgan didn't have it. So they were charging storage fees for metals that they weren't actually holding, right? And when they were asked about this, they said, this is common industry practice, right? I don't agree with that at all, but I'm just letting you know, this is the sort of thing that happens. However, I don't see that at mints, you know, so like the Royal Mint, for example, or very reputable metal storage companies or bullion dealers. I don't see that. When you know, from my experience, I've been into a lot of the vaults. When they've said they store it for you, they actually do store it for you. They don't, you know, loan it out or sell it or melt it down and replace it with others. It is pretty much there. But you know, with anything, there's, you know, only a couple of certainties in life, and that's birth and death, and of course taxes. We love the VAT over here in Europe, 20%. Imagine that, you know, for my friends in Canada and America, imagine paying 20% on everything, sales tax, including coins like this, which is legal tender. So you're actually paying tax on money. Madness. So there really isn't any way to know for 100% certainty, but as long as you go with a reputable company, it's pretty much certain that they've got your metals. As an example, if you look at the Royal Mint, that opened in 1968, 1969, I think it was 68, I believe. So that's over 50 years that has been open. It's a government-backed institution as well. The Bank of England backed that. So that, to me, would be a reputable mint that I would, you know, definitely keep my metals in. However, here's the caveat to that. Remember what I said near the start? Whenever you have legal tender, so this is legal tender, there has been confiscations in the past happening in America way back when the gold was actually confiscated and the government then gave people, you know, money in return, which isn't really money, it's a fiat currency. But there you go. Just something to be aware of and understand the risks of that. But again, I've never heard of it happening. Okay, question number 6. Are ETFs okay? So ETFs are exchange traded funds, just in case you've never heard of this before. So what do I think of these? Are these okay? So we've got Ankit here, great content. Okay, thank you, Ankit, appreciate that. Quick question. I've purchased gold, silver from the Royal Canadian Mint in the form of ETR. Okay, that's a little bit different. That's an exchange traded receipt, so slightly different. They claim they hold the physical gold, silver in their vault. Do you think this is okay? Or do you still think having silver is better? I would take the physical any day of the week. I wouldn't buy those. Same with the certificates. I think someone else asked, here it is, Keller's Cars. I have physical, which is reassuring, so that's great. Well done for that. I also have e-certificates. What do you think of those? Just liked and subscribed. Good, thank you for that. E-certificates, I actually did a little bit of research for you on this because I am aware of them, but I've never liked them. So I looked it up and I looked up the contract for you around the e-certificates. By the way, I read legal contracts pretty much twice a week. I'll read a very complex legal contract from one of my companies. They're pretty much very similar, and then whenever you see something that's a little bit weird or contradictory, that's when alarm bells ring. So I found one straight away in the e-certificate. So reserves the right to require up to 60 business days notice for physical delivery of the precious metals represented by the e-certificate to the holder. Let me tell you what's going on there. They are doing some sort of futures contracts. I don't know exactly what it is, but they haven't got your metal in that vault, right? I'm pretty certain of it. They haven't got your metal. So what they're doing is they're trading in some sort of digital similar to an ETF. And then if you ever request the metal, even though it said in the first paragraph that you can't request it, and then it says you can, so there's a contradiction. So this contract pretty much is null and void in my mind anyway, because it's contradictory. You can't actually get your metal, but then you can, but then you have to wait 60 days. It just doesn't make any sense to me, so I'm out. Question 7, gold to silver ratio. So this is from Soj H. How do we know the gold to silver price ratio should go back to the historic average. This seems to be a big assumption. Okay, Mr. Freeze, in regards to the silver-gold ratio, could the price of gold come down to get the ratio back to 70-1? I think this is what the banks want to happen. And then Mark, what do you think the near future ratio of gold and silver will be? Now, when it comes to gold and silver ratio, you want to really use it as a guide to help you with your investing, but you don't want to be like so focused on it that you take your eye off the ball. What I mean by that is just use the gold to silver ratio as a guide, but don't be like super like fixated on it. Like you have to follow that all the time. So could the price of gold come back down again? Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. The price could go up, the price could go down, it could stay stagnant. I personally think the price of gold is going to continue to go up in accordance with the uncertainty in the financial, economic, what's going on right now in the world. I think it's going to pretty much match that. And if you look at the previous issues like this, gold tends to be a reflection of the public opinion. So again, we're coming back to emotion. I try not to have any emotion when it comes to investing and buying commodities and things like that. But that's not the case in the general marketplace, and maybe not the case for you. You're watching this now because you're thinking, oh, should I jump into this? And it could be an emotional decision for you. So I just, my advice is never invest emotionally. Always invest based on, like facts. Be very logical and methodical and think it through before you actually make an investment. But with that said, I do think gold is going to continue to go up. And what happens when gold goes up? Mining stocks go up. What happens when both of these go up? The silver price will match it eventually. And, again, I keep coming back to this. Silver is going to explode. Not financial advice. Silver is going to explode in the near future. I'm almost 100% certain of it. I just don't know when it's going to happen, but I'm almost certain of it. That, just take all the emotion out of the way, take out all this nonsense that all these people are saying about silver. So many people troll in silver, but they just haven't got a clue what they're talking about. If you just look at the fact, take all the emotion out of the way, look at the fact. How can silver be the same price to buy it, or the spot price, should we say, as it is to mine it? It's not possible. The world doesn't work like that. The world works with you produce something, you sell it at a profit. All right, that's how things work. So it has to go back to that. So Mark asked about what do I think the future ratio of gold to silver will be. Go back a year or so on my videos and you'll see that I'm fairly accurate with my forecasts, right? But when it comes to a ratio, you haven't just got one thing to forecast. You've got not just, well, you haven't even got two, you've got four things to forecast there because they're playing against one another. Either one could go up or down. So, it's very challenging. But just to give you a general rule of thumb here, when the ratio is about 70-1, buy silver, or that's what I do. When the ratio is about 50-1, buy gold, right? That's just a general rule of thumb. That's how I would recommend doing it. Because what you can do is you can do something called playing the ratio. So that means when silver is very cheap, you can actually buy a lot of that. And then when gold becomes quite cheap, you can swap, as it were. You can sell your silver and get gold instead. So what you're doing is you're like gradually building your reserves up without having to pay any extra money, just by playing the ratio. People do this a lot. I know a lot of investors that do this quite successfully. If you're interested in doing it, then go ahead. It's quite fun to try and do it. Right, question 8 is really difficult, guys, here. So why is the silver price undervalued? Dennis Bates, the economy is tanking and silver has not budged. If not now, then when? Long said, did he promise to explain why the silver price is so undervalued in this video? But then he never did. I almost subscribed and liked the video. All right, sorry about that, Long. Let me answer that then. But again, this is really difficult. So just add in that caveat. I'm going to do my best here. So let's talk about what happened prior to 2005 then. It sort of ended in 2005. Something a lot of people aren't even aware of. And that is that governments around the world, they used to hold massive reserves of silver. We're talking hundreds of millions, some over 1 billion ounces of silver. And then between roughly 95, 2005, the governments around the world actually got rid of their silver. So they flooded the market with over 1 billion ounces of silver, just put it into the marketplace. What it did was it deflated the price. And personally, I think this is still going on today with this deflated price. When that happened, it bankrupted silver mines all around the world. So let me just give you some stats then. I've got them on the paper here. So we've mined about 1.6 million tons. So that's, again, roughly 50 billion ounces of silver so far. So that's what we've taken out of the Earth's crust. Now, most of this has now been lost to industry. It's gone to landfill. It's gone to things like that, like I mentioned on last week's video. So 500 million tons of silver are still in the ground. 850 million ounces of silver are mined every single year. Okay, so remember, 500 million ton, 850 million ounces that we're talking about here. So that is what's mined every year, and it's pretty much used. So that 850 is about what's used every year. You can actually find the reports if you're interested on the silver reports every year. Very useful. It might be a bit boring for you to read. I read it because I'm interested in it, but it'll tell you a lot about silver as well. Now, the other reason that silver is massively undervalued is because of manipulation. People, again, they say, Neil, there's no manipulation, blah, blah, blah. Trust me, there is manipulation, right? If you look at someone, again, same name keeps coming up, JP Morgan, they have millions. We don't even know how many ounces they have. Some people say hundreds of millions, 500 millions. We don't know exactly, but they have millions of ounces of silver just stored away, right? So let's talk about ETFs here. So again, exchange traded funds. If you were to even like comprehend the amount of silver that's traded on these ETFs every day, is madness. Like the amount of silver that's traded throughout these funds regularly is 2, 3, 4, 5 times the amount of silver in existence. So again, these are futures contracts. They don't own any of these metals. And I'll give you an example that you'll understand. I don't know if you had this game in your country, but we had it in England when I was growing up, and it was called musical chairs. So let's say there's 11 of you, 11 kids, and there's 10 chairs in the middle, and you play a song, da, 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 and you have to sit on the chair before when the music ends, right? And then whoever still stood, oh, I'm stood, I haven't got a chair. Yeah, you're out, get out, go on, go, right? So that's the game. And then they do another round, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. And eventually it's 2 people left and there's one, you know. So what I'm saying is these are a comparison to ETFs. When everything just breaks down and people are like, I want my silver, I need my metal. The silver has gone to landfill, this is in the future, right? Or anything happens like a massive financial crisis and everything breaks down, the dollar could collapse, reserve currency, etc. What might happen here is that there's all these contracts and they're like, oh, okay, I actually don't have your metal. Well, what about you? Have you got my metal? I've got a contract. No, I haven't got it either. Well, who actually has this metal? No one. Well, maybe JP Morgan. No one's got the metal, right? This is ETFs. They are so dangerous. I just don't want to get involved in them at all. So this is another thing that's keeping the silver price really low and undervalued. There's all this supply that's apparently in existence, which just isn't there. The next thing I believe is affecting the price is the illusion that has been created around metals like silver, where investors and you know, average everyday people like you, like I, we've been told that silver has no value. It's just an industrial metal. Just makes me laugh every time someone comments, you know, on my channel and says, it's just an industrial metal, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not just an industrial metal. Yes, it's heavily used for industry, but silver, like I said last week, has always been a store of wealth and value. Going back hundreds, thousands of years, it's always been a store of value. Just go to any manor house or look at Downton Abbey if you've ever seen that, and they have the silverware, right? And it's all stored away and locked away. This is how people used to store money, as silverware. So silver is a valuable metal. It is a store of value. It is a store of wealth, but we've been tricked into thinking that it has no value, but it really does. And we'll see this again in the future. Now, the other thing that's going to keep silver quite low, especially in the very near future, is the fact that industry has grinded to a halt lately. And with the majority of silver usage being for industry, there is going to be very little demand for the bulk of what silver is used for. So this will deflate the price as well. So we could even see silver, I don't think it's going to go below mining cost, but it's definitely a possibility. So I'm not expecting, and again, we're going to come on to price forecast, I'm not expecting silver to do amazing this year in 2020. I really think it's going to be 2021, 2022 before we start to see this big explosion in silver. And just looking at the stats as well, I've got it on here, there's 18 times more gold in the Earth's crust than there is silver. So why then is it 100 to 1, the ratio, or, you know, as of last week when I made the video, 115 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold, when there's actually 18 ounces more of silver than there is gold in the Earth's crust? Shouldn't it be closer to 18 to 1? And again, there's a lot of arguments for and against, but it's just another variable to give you to think about. Which brings me on to question number 9, which is the silver price estimate for 2020 to 2022. So Boundless Productions target price for silver at the end of 2020 and 2021. Cami, will silver hit $100 an ounce in the next couple of years? Live, in your opinion, how soon will silver jump to $600 or $1,000? That last one, yeah, I can't see it jumping to $1,000 anytime soon, right? I think it's going to be a long time for that. I can't see it. I can't see it going to that sort of price. But could it go to $100 in the next couple of years? Yeah, I can't see any reason why it wouldn't at all. If you think what happened during the last financial crisis, look what happened to silver. Look at the price of where silver got to. And that happened very quickly. The thing to understand is silver is a very small market. It's not like a lot of, you know, think of the stock market. That is a huge market, trillions of dollars in that. Silver's a very small market. So any large cash injection that goes into that will boom the price, it will explode the price very quickly in a short period of time. So there's 2 points then that I've got down here, and that is so that you can have a look at this and reference it. So if we look at what happened in 1979, where the gold price went up from $235 to about $700. Again, I'm just rounding these numbers off, okay? So that was over a 300% increase an ounce on gold. But the silver price exploded, I like that word, exploded, $6.60 to $49.45. That's a 600% increase. All right, gold did 300%, silver did 600%. This again happened in the last financial crisis of 08 to 12. Yes, gold went up from $800 to $1,900, so that was almost a 150% increase. But again, silver exploded from $10 to $45, so that was a roughly 440% increase. I'm just doing these calculations off the top of my head, by the way. So why wouldn't this happen again? Well, I personally think it would happen again. I can't see any reason why, if it's happened in the past like that, why it wouldn't happen again. But again, I keep coming back to this point. Silver isn't a short-term speculation as an investment. It's a long-term holding position. And the way you got to think about silver is that it has a finite supply, right? Silver has a finite supply. It will run out eventually. Once the last ounce of silver is mined from the ground, all that is left is what is above ground, and that will have a value. And as that is used up, especially for industry, and there's less and less and less, that will have an increase in value. This is again supply and demand. Okay, so just a couple more notes there. I personally think that silver is a few months behind gold at the moment in terms of pricing. So by the end of the summer, I think we're going to have a good idea of where silver's going. But just remember what I said about the supply demand at the moment, especially with industrial usage and demand on it is very low. They really don't want it because they haven't got any way to use it, because borders are closed around the world, factories are shuttered. So that is going to sort of reduce the value of silver a little bit as well. Okay, next question. What do I think of junk silver? So I've got this from Dean Fletcher and Shelley Is junk silver a good investment? Would like to hear your thoughts on only 90% junk coins as opposed to pure silver. Okay, so let's first pre-frame what junk silver is versus refined silver like this. So junk silver, I don't know why it got that name, but it basically means it's about 90% silver, okay? Versus this, like an eagle here, like I showed you, that's 99.9% pure silver. So junk silver is 90% silver. And you can find these in coins that were made prior to 1964 in the United States. You can find them in dimes, right? They contain 90% silver. So if you look, what's a good practice is to always look at your change and have a look at the year on the coin. They're still in circulation today. You may have had loads of silver, you didn't even know it. You got your 10 cents back, or you got your dime back, right? And you just thought, oh, this is just a dime. You got rid of it again. The chances are that could have been 90% pure silver and you didn't even know it, right? So that could have been worth, say, a couple of dollars worth of silver right there, and you can actually save it up. I'll put an image on screen now so you can see what junk silver looks like. But the way I look at junk silver is the same way I look at silver to gold, right? They say that silver is a poor man's gold. So I would say that junk silver is a poor person's silver, really. It's just one level down from your refined silver investment. Nothing wrong with junk silver at all. I personally don't hold it because I can't see any value in it for me. I'm a different place to that. I like this sort of stuff. I like the kilo bars. I like holding larger quantities. Junk silver is very popular in the preppers community because it's just so small and divisible. You know, trying to buy something, you know, let's say that everything went downhill, you know, end of the world type situation. Not something I think is going to happen anytime soon, but a lot of people believe that. Again, I'm not going against your beliefs. If you think that, that's absolutely fine. But if you look at, let's say, a coin like this, again, we've got the eagle here. That is going to be very difficult to spend that, because that will be worth so much. It'll be so valuable that, you know, what you're going to buy with it. You're not going to buy a loaf of bread with a coin like that. You might buy 100 loaves of bread or something like that. So that's why things like dimes and other coins like that are very useful in these situations. They also don't get milk spots. They don't tarnish like some of these refined coins here do. So they can be useful for that. The other benefit of junk silver is that it's very rare that it's ever been faked. It's just not worth faking a 1964 dime. So you're never going to get a fake in junk silver. And if you do, I would be absolutely amazed, because I've never heard of it in over a decade of buying silver. So really, it's up to you whether you go for junk silver or refined silver. You're probably going to pay about 50% more for an ounce of silver like this. That's refined. You're going to pay about 50% more than you would for, say, junk silver. So that's, again, something to bear in mind. Question 11 comes from Omar and Andrew, which is really around how much gold or silver should you own. What's the amount of silver gold recommended per individual? What would you say is a good investment amount in terms of weight to hold in silver? I just started stacking this year, looking for general rule of thumb if there is one. So firstly, congratulations, Andrew. That's brilliant that you've just started. So one little tip that I would give you, because some people say, oh, it's easy for people like you, Neil, you can just buy loads of silver all the time. But me, I've just got a job and I've got this and I've got that and I can't afford silver. The fact is, one coin, right? So you look at, again, keep coming back to this, an ounce like that, you can pick one of these up, very, very low cost, right? If you just bought one of these a week, or let's say you bought 2 a month or something like that with your paycheck, you just took a very small amount and every month you just bought a couple of coins like that. By the end of the year, you'd have 24 coins, right? So let's just say you have 25 coins. By the end of 4 years, you'd have 100 ounces, you know, and you just buy it very slowly, just build it up, accumulate it. But what you don't do is you don't just go out. It's not like real estate, right? You don't just go out and spend a couple $100,000 on a house as a rental. Things like that. You don't need to buy 200 ounces in one go. You can just buy 1 ounce, 1 ounce, next week another ounce. And that's really how I recommend people, you know, you build up your silver collection. If you haven't really got much money, this is a good way to hedge against the future, especially with inflation. Because a lot of people, they save all their money and then 10 years down the line, they go, oh, I've got this money saved up. Oh, it's actually not worth that much now because inflation has eaten away, or I got 0.00000.1% in my savings account. So with inflation at 2 or 3%, you've lost money. All right. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch back some of my other videos. It will really explain a lot of this stuff. So how much silver should you own? What's a good rule of thumb then? Well, it really depends on you and how much silver you want to own. What do you feel comfortable with? If I came to you with a truckload of silver tomorrow, you would probably be overwhelmed and think, what do I do with all of this silver? You wouldn't want it, for some of you, because you wouldn't know what to do with it. And it would just be uncomfortable anyway to have that sort of quantity. Whereas other people, they might just want what I've got on the table here, 350 ounces, something like that. You might only want 100 ounces just to protect you against the future, against inflation. So it's really up to you, I would say, but definitely start. Okay, don't do what a lot of people do and just put it off because they don't know what to do. Just start with a couple of Eagles, a couple of Maples, Britannias. Just start with something like that and then go from there, build it up slowly. Okay, next question is from JN. You mentioned that when you buy silver in the US, you get a better deal when buying in bulk and a lower premium. How much bulk are you talking about and how much does it help the price you pay? Well, that was weird. A random cat just tried to climb through my window there, but anyway. So there's really two different types of way of buying in bulk. One way is to buy like a monster box, which is 500 ounces of a American Eagle in one box. It's a green box. You might buy 5 of those, and that would give you a significant discount. And then like people like me, the mint will let them store that free of charge for however long, right? Because you've bought in bulk. The other way to buy in bulk is to buy large kilogram bars. So, multiples of kilograms, 10 kilograms or more, to buy bars like that. That is also buying in bulk, and you would get a much better premium price on it. So sorry, JN, if you were thinking it's like, 100 ounces or something like that. No, I mean, the minimum you're talking about is probably 2,000 ounces, 2,500 ounces, or maybe 10, 20 kilograms before you would start to get some sort of a bulk saving like serious silver investors get. Mazar is the next one. Is it possible to buy silver in America and bring it to England? What's the best way to do this? VAT saving. So again, even though he's asking about America to England, this applies to any countries, but really what he's asking is it possible not to pay the tax on it? So yes, it is possible, but I personally wouldn't do it. I've had it before. This has actually happened to me where I've ordered coins from another country, and when they came in, they got stopped. And then I got a letter from HMRC, Her Majesty's Revenues and Customs, saying that I owed this massive VAT bill, which was value added tax. Again, no value added to that tax. So I had to pay an extra 20% on top of, what else, plus a fee. They sent me a fee for sending me the letter. So it was just a massive, massive issue. So yes, you can bring it back. Now, the good thing here is I've actually transported metals before. So again, I think I mentioned before, I live between here and the USA, so England, USA. So I have transported metals between the USA, between England legally. What happens is you declare them straight away. Don't try and hide them, because that's where you get issues. You just make it very clear, because I'll give you an example. When you go to the USA, there's a declaration that says, are you carrying more than $10,000 on your person? So some people try and avoid that, and they say, oh, well, my gold sovereign only says $100 on it or whatever. And they say, oh, so that's the face value. Well, no, your gold sovereign's worth a couple $1,000s, right? Your 1 ounce gold. So I've always put them in a special little box like this here. See, this is a Pelly case right here. And this seals quite nicely, right? I've always put my metals in a box like that so that I was really clear upon, I have got these metals, and I declared the value, right? So I let the customs officer know, and I declared the value of those metals. And then we've got Kevin Loving. How do you confirm that the silver is real? So this is a great question. I'm going to show you that now, actually. I'm just going to switch from the seat to show you that. Okay, so I'm going to show you now how to test this coin. So you hold it about this sort of angle here, about 45 degrees. And then we take this here, which is a silver magnet. It's a rare earth magnet. And what we're going to do is we're going to place it on top. And you see, normally this would fall quickly. But what happens is it glides down. So did you see that? It glides. Now let me show you with a different coin. So this is 50p, or as we say, 50 pence in the UK. Lots of jokes about that on the last video. That is what we call it, pence. Look, 50 pence. Now if I show you this on here, watch this. It just falls straight off. There's no gliding or anything like that. Again, show you this. See that? Goes down very slowly. Now, I don't actually have a fake silver coin to show you, but if you have a fake silver coin, or if you suspect that you have one, if you just get a rare earth magnet like that, they are like $1 to buy. You can get them on eBay or things like that, very cheap. Just use that, put your coin about 45 degrees like I did, and just let the magnet go down. You'll know straight away, because if it's real silver, it will glide really beautifully down. If it's a fake, it's just going to slide straight down. It's going to stick to it. Hope that helps. Okay, silver hoarder. Do you believe that silver can become more valuable than gold someday, as silver has more industrial use, as you stated, gets thrown away, doesn't get recycled, and it arguably has more history of monetary use as well? Is this a dual threat? When the jig is up, does silver revalue above gold, or does the price manipulation continue? So call me crazy, and some people do, but I personally think the silver price could one day pass the gold price. Now, I'm not talking for a long time. We're talking decades, all right, here, decades. But it is possible, because silver is used a lot more than gold in industry, for example. It's a very good conductor, so it's used heavily. Now, when all the silver and gold starts to get used, there's only so much of it. It is going to get used. It's going to continue to get used. So when it's all been mined out of the ground, and you've got this, these two metals left, and there's a limited supply of it, the prices will come up, and they will start to match a lot closer. But this could be 40 years down the line, guys. I'm not saying this is next week. It could be 40 years down the line before that happens. But I do believe one day in the future, silver will become extremely rare as a metal. Right, and then the last one I'm going to cover, it's not really a question, it's a comment that was 40, 50 times on the last video. Captain America, counting me crow. How hard is it to count one crow? But anyway, and Fernando Sanchez, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Good luck getting your metals back. All right, this is something that makes me laugh, because it comes up all the time. Most people don't know the source of where this came from, but it came from ETFs, exchange traded funds, like I mentioned before, where you just didn't know, what you were actually getting. Did you just have a paper certificate? This doesn't apply to metals in a vault. Fernando's saying, good luck getting your metals out the vault or whatever. Fernando, I just got them. They're here, bro. Can you see? They're right in front of me. I can go and get my metals whenever I want them. In the last 50 years, I've never heard of, even armed vaults saying, no, you can't come in and get your metal. The risk is just so small, it's ridiculous. Okay, so I don't buy into this whole thing about if you don't hold it, you don't own it. I would much prefer to keep my metals in a vault away from my house, especially again in England. I don't want to be holding metals here, because if an armed gang breaks in or whatever, I'm not interested in dealing with that. Even with my military training, having what I've done in the past, I don't want to deal with these guys. Here, take my 20 ounces that I've got. I don't really care. I've got insurance, I mean, a funny example is, I don't know about you, but I've got photos stored in the cloud, right? Different online cloud software. And most people do now, Google Photos, things like that. That's like saying, if you don't hold those photos printed out in your hand, you don't own them. No. I can just go on my laptop at any point. I can go on the cloud and I can get those photos straight away. All right, just because I haven't got them in my hand, it doesn't mean I don't own them. All right, so I think it's a bit of a crazy argument that got carried away there. So I really hope this video helped today. Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched all the way through, or if you've used the timestamps, please like the video, click like on the video if you haven't already. And why not subscribe to the channel? All of my videos are high quality. I put out a video every week like this where I'm teaching you something about finance and economics. You know, get this information for free. I don't charge for it. Some people now on YouTube, they charge for their expert advice. I don't charge for mine still. And please share my channel with your friends or colleagues, whoever you think needs to see this information. But apart from that, I will see you next week on the next video. Take care.